This is Deanna.
This is Candace.
And you're listening to
No Fucking Way.
So earlier this week, my kitten woke me up. The kitten's been waking me up in the middle of the night ever since I stopped shutting him up at night. Which it's like it's more convenient not to shut him up, but it's also like he wants to play at like 3 o'clock in the morning, so it kind of sucks. But I don't remember what time it was. I think it was actually earlier than 3. I think it was maybe like 1 or 2 or something. Anyway, I went to go lay down on the couch, and I have shades in my house. So the shade down in the living room. I'm laying on the couch, and the kitten's kind of doing his thing, and then he kind of like runs off or whatever. And I'm laying there, and I'm trying to go to sleep, and I hear voices like on the porch. It sounded like 2 different people. It sounded like 2 men, and it sounded like 2 distinct different voices to me. Like one was kind of like a little bit louder, and then the other one was kind of like a little softer. And I felt so scared. I was like, just this shot of like adrenaline like went through my body. I'm like, I'm laying here. I'm half naked on the couch. What am I gonna do? I don't know what to do. I was like, do I go wake up Cody, or do I just sit here and like hope they go away?
Yeah.
I was also too scared to like peek behind the shade, because like what if they see me?
Or what if they're like trying to peek in when you're trying to
Yeah. Oh my God. I was so scared. I was like, well, what if I look out there and I actually see something?
Oh my God.
So I decided to get up and go into our spare room, which didn't have the shade down, to see if I could like see out that and see if I could see anybody on the porch that way. So I go in there and I look and I don't see anybody, and I'm kind of like looking around our yard, and then I go into like my office, that's like the next window, and I'm like doing the same thing. And then I go in our room and I'm like peeking out that shade, and Cody wakes up and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I heard voices outside." And he's like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "I heard something. I heard people talking outside." And he's like, "Okay." So he gets up, and I think at that point he said, I was talking to Leo. And I was like, it sounded like it was on the porch though. And he was like, yeah, he had said something to Leo, because Leo like jumped up on the bed and like woke him up basically, and he had said something to Leo. But we were still both scared, even though we both realized it was probably just him talking. But anyway, so we were still scared. But I just went to go like back down on the couch, and
But was Leo talking back to him?
No. No, Leo, he was just kind of like, "Get out of here, Leo," like kind of like that kind of thing. Like that was what he said. And so I go lay back down on the couch, and I'm still scared, even though I'm like, he said something, so I guess. But to me, it was crazy because it sounded like it was right outside the window, not down the hall. You know what I mean? Like the sound traveling just like tricked me, I guess. But anyway, so I lay back down, and I hear someone coming up our basement steps. And then I just started to like panic, because I was like, oh my God, like, what is this? Like somebody like breaking into our house. I mean, it was Cody. He had gotten up, and I didn't hear him go down the stairs. He had gotten up to go get his gun. So as he's going up the stairs, all I could do was, I was like, "Is that you?"
Oh, that's what you said? That is not what you said.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I was like, "Is that you?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's me." I was like, "Okay."
Oh my God.
It's funny because one other time I was riding my bike at Fort Yargo on a trail, and I thought I was alone. And this guy came up beside me. Usually on a trail, like people will let you know, like on your left or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
So all of a sudden, I hear like on your left, like right behind me, and I screamed like the ugliest scream. It wasn't a cute scream, right? Like it was like ah! It was like this hideous scream. So both in that moment and when I was like, "Is that you?" I was like, "That's the last fucking thing a killer is gonna hear when I'm when I'm about to
Oh
get
my
murdered."
god.
Some hideous scream or like, "Is that you?"
It's so funny
It's,
because you
it's so
always
embarrassing.
we were so after this conversation today, I was telling her about the story that I heard before of this girl or guy, I don't remember, who they woke up to someone like actively coming through their bedroom window, but they were struggling because it was in like a second or third floor apartment.
Yeah.
And so this person had plenty, the person was like half in the window, half out, like hanging, basically asking for help. But like, you're coming into my, who are you? Like, what are your intentions? What's going on? So this person had more than enough time to like kick this guy in the face, like shove them out the window, cut them, like close the window on their leg or their fingers or something. And
Yeah.
they just, the story was so stupid. They stood there for so long, like not knowing what to do. They did wind up getting into a fight. Like the guy got into the room and wound up like fighting this other person. Like it was so ridiculous because the person who lived there had so much time to think
Yeah.
about what you're gonna do. You always, you have these scenarios in your head and you think of what you would actually do, but
Right.
then
Yeah.
when you are in a situation and you are scared and like your hands are already clammy and your heart is racing, like when Peter, like the story I just told you, when Peter came into our room and said that, I was like, I immediately, we're all gonna die, the whole family is
Yeah.
about to be slaughtered. Like what you just when it's in the moment, everything that you think you would do and what you know just turns into,
Yeah.
is
When
that
you're
you?
fantasizing about it, yeah, when you're fantasizing about it, you're like, I'm gonna be this ninja. I'm gonna run in the
Yeah.
kitchen. I'm gonna grab a knife and like
But
you
then
just think all these things.
what would you do if you woke up and someone was coming through your window and you saw the opportunity? You had time to go downstairs and like get a bat or something. Like what do you do? Do you just stand there and think the whole time they're coming in?
Mhm.
Like
I
who
think
it
I would run and I would go hide in another room and lock the door or something or leave. I
you
guess I'd
wouldn't like
probably like leave. I'd start leaving the house, running down the street with my phone, calling 911. I don't know. I don't know what I would do.
yeah. I mean, I want to say my instinct would be to like kick this person right in the face. Like I don't
Well,
know.
then, so, this, we've talked, Cody and I have talked about getting me a gun for protection
Mhm.
because, I like to do all these things by myself. And after this incident, he came up to me like the next day or the day after or a couple days later, and he's like, here, I want to see if you can even like cock this gun or not.
Mhm.
And he handed me this gun. I couldn't even pull the thing back.
Really?
It was so hard. I was like, "Why is it so hard? I don't understand." And then it was like also like the little grippy things on it, like they were sharp. I was like, "I don't like this. This is too hard." And I was like, "No, I can't do it." And then he handed me a different gun, and that one was a little bit easier, but I was like, "Yeah, I don't think I'd be able to do that in like the heat of the moment. Like I would be
Yeah.
shaking and not be able to do that."
You're like, why is this so hard to pull
Which
back?
I would be like, "Can you do that? Can you pull this
Wait,
back for me?"
wait. Time out.
But we had talked before when we talked before about getting a gun for me for protection. He's like, "Well, what about a revolver?" Which is like
Yeah.
Wild West style.
Yeah, the clicky little.
I was like, I was like, I don't want to look
Cowgirl.
like I'm in the Wild West.
Yeah.
I don't want to
Cowgirl.
like, yeah, I was like, I'm gonna have to like wear cowboy boots all the time or something. Like when I have this gun, like I don't know, that just seems embarrassing. But after he tried to get me to like cock that gun, I was like, okay, I guess you're right. I guess I need a revolver.
Um, Whenever I told Cassidy that, so my sister's sitting here. If you hear someone else
Oh yeah,
Hello.
laughing at
special
us,
guest.
I told her. So when I told her that story, I just told Deanna an embarrassing story about my husband. That when I told her that story this afternoon, she reminded me of a time when we like moved him into his townhome. This was years and years and years and years ago. I didn't live with him. He had a roommate, and we were sitting on the couch, and it was the end of the night, like everything moved in, we're exhausted, we're sitting there, we like ordered pizza, and we heard, and it's a townhome, so like all the homes, obviously you know what townhomes are, they're all like connected, you have a ton of close neighbors. You can't really hear them though, it's not like an apartment because there's no one above you, but we heard like this gunshot noise that sounded like it was upstairs. It was so loud. Either upstairs or like someone standing on the porch. It was so fucking loud. And like we both jumped. And he made me go see what it was
Why you?
because he was scared.
Oh my god.
He's like, just go. He was like, it sounded like it was on the porch. So he's like, you go look on the porch. I'll go look out front. And I'm like, when the noise clearly came from the back of the townhouse. So he's like, I'm doing something too, but like, you go check there out. I'll go look out front. And it was he had put a can of Coke in the freezer and it exploded.
Oh. Oh my god.
And he was terrified. Like, he was so scared. And then at the same townhouse, the very bottom level was the garage and the laundry room, and then there was like 20 stairs up to the main living area. And we were sitting on the couch right by the front door, and there was like a door chime that went on when you came in one of the doors. And we're sitting there, and we heard the door chime go off, but the only other door was downstairs in the garage. And he made me go see what it was or who it was. His roommate was out of town. And we heard like the ding. And we're sitting right by the front door, and he's like, I said, is that your roommate? And he's like, no, he was in like fucking China or something. He's like, go see. So you look down these stairs, it's like 20 stairs straight down just to a wall. And then to the right is the garage, the door, the laundry room. I went all the way down the stairs by myself because I didn't want us to die. If someone, I'm telling you, no matter what he says, if someone or something comes into this house, I have to go in like a fuck you up mode because I just don't trust his instincts at all. Not at all. Even
Yeah,
if
I
we
feel
did
like
have a gun, I still just don't trust that. He just like panics. He panics.
we need to take some self-defense classes.
Yeah. Or some, yeah. I mean, I feel bad saying it about him, but I'm scared. I feel scared that he is that way. You know?
Yeah.
I know he wouldn't do that, but sometimes I just picture him like grabbing me and holding me like in front of him, like walking
My
down the
wife's in
hall.
there.
Yeah. Like throwing me to someone so he could get away. Well, we just need to have a long talk.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before though, like a scenario. Didn't we talk about this before where like you have someone come in?
Yeah, well, I
Like,
said I wanted to hire someone to try to kidnap me to see how I would fare in a fight with
yes.
them.
Oh yeah. And then I asked like, would you be mad if if Cody set that up and you didn't know? Like, would you be mad? Right? Wasn't that the question?
Yeah, I think so. But so whenever whoever we find, I need to send them to your place.
Please.
Okay.
Yeah, let me know. Tell me.
No, I need it to be genuine.
Oh, it's so scary to even think about.
It is scary. Do you have anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay. I guess I'll get started then.
I am enjoying a nice little
A little break.
a nice
Oh,
a nice little red, a nice little white over here.
I'm so gel.
It's not good.
Oh, okay.
Don't be jealous. I am enjoying my nice little break though also.
Oh yeah.
But I also kind of have FOMO. I've got some stories.
You'll have plenty of time.
I know.
All right. So today I'm going to tell you about Ashley Fallis. So Ashley Fallis married her high school sweetheart, and they had two daughters, but they very quickly divorced. Then she met her husband Tom Fallis in February of 2007 on Match.com, and they fell head over heels for each other. Within a year, Ashley gave birth to their son, and 2 weeks later, the couple got married, and Tom adopted her two daughters from her previous marriage. The couple lived in Evans, Colorado. Ashley was a respiratory therapist, and Tom was a corrections officer. Their son was diagnosed with hydrocephalus, and Ashley wound up getting fired from her job in 2010, and she won a wrongful termination suit. So it's kind of thought that their son being diagnosed with that put a strain on her like mental health,
What is
and
that?
she started. It's where they have like fluid on the brain, and he had to have like multiple surgeries
That's
to
like
relieve.
where your brain like expands, right? Or where your head like
It's like fluid in the brain or fluid in your skull, like basically putting pressure on your brain because there's no,
oh,
it's like
oh.
inside your skull, so there's no room.
Uh-huh.
So it kind of gave her some alleged behavioral issues at work that she wound up getting fired for, but she won a wrongful termination suit. And Ashley reportedly suffered from anxiety, depression, OCD, and bipolar symptoms. Her family also had a history of mental health issues. In the summer of 2011, Ashley had an affair with an old boyfriend, and she started to see two different psychiatrists, and they were both prescribing her medications, but they didn't know about each other.
Okay.
So she was on mood stabilizers and anxiety medication. Ashley and Tom had started to talk about separating because he knew about the affair, but they wound up deciding to stay together because Ashley wound up getting pregnant again. But it was kind of weird that she was pregnant because she had had a tubal ligation when she had her son. So it was kind of like she wasn't supposed to be able to get pregnant, but she did, and then she had a miscarriage. But the fact that she like got pregnant, it kind of like helped them like get over all their issues, and they wanted to like move forward with starting or not starting, but continuing their family. They started looking into how to get her tubal ligation reversed so that they could have another baby. And that kind of brings us to December 31st of 2011, their New Year's Eve party. So a few weeks prior to that, Ashley had taken the pregnancy test and it was positive. Um, but the day of the party, she had had some bleeding, and um, they took another pregnancy test and it was negative. So she figured that she had a miscarriage.
Mhm.
And that was when they started talking about having the tubal ligation reversed, and like they would maybe just continue their family. And they were really happy at the party. Ashley was in good spirits. They were dancing together. Everybody was having a good time. Her family was there, like her mom and her uncle was there, and her stepdad. So at one point, the mood kind of turned sour when Ashley was either offered or she asked her uncle if she could smoke marijuana with him outside. And that pissed Tom off because there's different reports as to why, one of them being that he was a corrections officer and he didn't want to get in trouble, or maybe she was trying to get another job and he was thinking that it was going to affect her chances of getting a job because she's going to be drug tested.
Mhm.
And at this time in Colorado, it was illegal still for you to be able to smoke marijuana. So an argument ensued. Tom kind of stormed off to their bedroom and told her parents to leave. And so they left, and it was around like 12:30 at this time. So as Ashley's parents were heading home, they saw an ambulance and emergency vehicles heading back towards Ashley's house. And Ashley's mom got a really bad feeling about it, so they turned around and went back to the house where Ashley was being loaded up into an ambulance. So, kind of backtracking a little bit as to like what happened to get them to that point. Once the guests left, Ashley went into her and Tom's room and confronted him about how he acted towards her parents, telling him, like, I can smoke weed if I want to. And they just kind of started having this argument. Tom felt like she was always like, even having the tubal ligation was her mom's idea. And he was like, you're always like doing things that your mom's telling you to do. And you need to stop doing that. And they just kind of had this argument. He went into the closet to put his pajamas on, and he heard her cock her gun. And before he could finish asking her what she was doing, he heard a gunshot, and she had shot herself in the head.
Oh my god. I've
So
seen
he,
this. I've seen this
you
picture.
have?
The photo of her in the closet, right?
No, she's not in the closet.
Oh,
She's outside in the bedroom next on her side of the bed, which is where she kept her gun under the mattress. He was in the closet. I
okay.
covered another story where someone else, where a different woman shot herself in the head in the closet. That might be what you're thinking of.
Oh, yeah, but it was, like, questionable.
Yeah, like it was like whether or
Oh,
not he
okay,
shot
okay,
her or
okay.
not.
Okay.
This is kind of a similar thing because, he immediately called 911. Neighbors also heard gunshots. I think they called 911 too. Ashley was alive when paramedics arrived, but she died at the hospital while Tom was being questioned.
Oh my god.
So the person interrogating Tom didn't believe him. They were like pressing him, like acting like he's the one that shot Ashley. And he's like, I didn't shoot my wife. I would never do that. He had like these scratches on his chest and like on his neck. And they weren't deep. They were like very much like scratches I have on my body right now from my
Yeah,
kitten. But
yeah.
um he was like, no, I just shaved my chest the other day and I've been scratching myself. And that's where this came from, like, because I've just been scratching. And he was also like stressed that night, so he kept doing this to his neck, and he just was like, oh, I just scratched myself by accident right here.
Also, don't you think you can tell the difference in, like, I have scratches right now from Hazel.
Right.
That kinda scratch, like a surface scratch versus, like, a
Definitely,
defensive, like,
yeah.
"Get off of me."
And if you ask me, if I'm looking at the photos, to me, it looks like random scratches. It doesn't look like something someone did in self defense or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So, he started to get pissed off during the interview because he's like, he was being accused of killing Ashley, and he's like, I didn't do that. He's like, why don't you go ahead and test my hands for gunshot residue then? And you need to test her hands too. So they did wind up testing his hands and her hands. Um, there was no gunshot residue found on his hands. There was only gunshot residue on her hands.
Okay.
So at the scene, there were some photos on the wall that were like kind of crooked, and then there were a couple photos that were like laying on the floor. So that was kind of maybe indicative of a struggle potentially. There was also a lot less blood at the scene than they expected to see. So kind of where that comes from is like they were thinking perhaps, you know, if he's the one that shot her, he immediately applied pressure, so there wasn't as much blood. Is
Mm.
kind of like their line of thinking with the whole like not as much blood as you would think theory. There were neighbors that reported hearing her say, "Get off me," and him saying, "Don't leave me." She also had like a bag like on the bed, on her side of the bed, that was kind of like, I guess, her overnight bag. And so some people were speculating that maybe she was getting ready to leave. But 4 days after the incident, the death was ruled a suicide and the case was closed 2 months later. Tom moved to Indiana with the kids, and so he could be closer to his sister. And
Mhm.
also, he was going to start, like, just kind of start a new life. He's getting his bachelor's degree. But Ashley's parents had always believed that Tom is the one that actually shot Ashley. So they pushed for a further investigation. 2 years later, a 17-year-old witness came out and said that he had heard Tom say to his parents that he killed Ashley, saying something along the lines of, I shot her, even though he never told the police any of this.
Who was this kid though?
That a neighbor.
Oh, that, like, says he heard, like, their
Yeah.
argument or
That
something?
he says, like, he was, like, because of all of the commotion that was going on outside with, like, the ambulances and stuff, that he was kind of like outside, like, being nosy, like, trying to hear. And he said he
That'd be
heard
me.
Tom, yeah. He
Mhm.
heard Tom say, I shot her.
Oh.
So they reopened the case, and Tom was indicted on second-degree murder charges. The state pointed to Tom's anger issues and the lack of blood at the scene, and um, they also had like her family come on and talk about how like Tom was controlling and all of this kind of stuff like that. They also did some like reenactments, but it was kind of, it wound up being in favor of the defense because the angle at which Ashley was shot was like the gun was pointed like upwards like this, and that would have been difficult for Tom to achieve. That's more indicative of like her shooting herself than of Tom. If she's like sitting, like kneeling on the floor, that would be, it would be more of an angle, upward angle than if Tom would have had to like get on the floor next to her and shoot her,
I
like,
always have an issue every time I think about, like, when this topic is brought up at all, like, the angle at which someone is shot, because depending on, like, the struggle, like, if there was a struggle at all or if they're fighting or if she's, like, holding him or pulling
mhm.
on his arm or something, and then so his arm is, like, down, and so he just shot
And there's
wherever.
so much that can happen. Like, there's another case that I've been researching, and the person has like multiple gunshots, and it's like you don't remember, like,
Yeah,
okay, first I shot him in the leg and then he was running, and so then I shot him. It was just like, I don't know, I shot him 3 times and then
because it
he was dead.
happens in
Yeah, it
seconds,
happened so fast. Like,
so
there's no
you're
way to
not.
tell
Yeah,
what came
you're
first.
exactly, exactly. That, I mean, it's so hard to say.
Yeah. But also, like I said, there was no gunshot residue on his hands, but there was some on
Oh,
Ashley's
well,
hands.
that part.
The defense also brought up these notes that she had written to Tom. And her family had never seen these notes, but she was saying like that she was a failure. Apparently, she had had 2 pregnancies and miscarriages in this time period between like them like potentially getting divorced and this time period where she was killed. But the autopsy showed that her tubal ligation had failed on her left side, but she had not been pregnant for 8 weeks prior to the shooting.
Oh,
So that pregnancy test that she took was probably a false positive. But he
yeah.
says that there was like another time before that where she thought that she had potentially gotten pregnant. So they also brought her psychiatrist on, and at first her psychiatrist was like, she didn't seem depressed. Of course,
Mhm,
this is like for the state. But when he was cross examined, they were like, did you know that she had experienced what she believed to be 2 miscarriages prior to
mhm.
this, and that she felt like a failure for that? And did you also know that she was also seeing another prescriber? and she had stopped taking her medications 3 weeks prior to this incident because she thought she was pregnant. Would any of
Oh.
that change what you believe her state of mind to be at the time?
So this psychiatrist that they were asking had not been prescribing her anything
He
for
had. They
depression?
both were. Both psychiatrists were prescribing her medications.
But he was prescribing medication for her for depression, but said she didn't seem depressed.
Well, he was prescribing her mood stabilizers because she said that she
Oh.
had had panic attacks. She was saying that she was
Oh.
having like 3 to 5 panic attacks a week. So she was on mood
Oh.
stabilizers.
Okay.
So her medication wasn't for depression, but it was more for like
Okay.
her
Yeah.
mood disorder that she had. So when they kind of brought all that up, he was like, "Well, yeah, that would change my perception of what her state of mind would have been at the time." So after all of this, it was like a couple of weeks for the trial. The jury deliberated for a total of 3 hours, which included a 1 hour lunch break, and they acquitted Tom of all charges.
Wow.
And then one of the videos that I watched, actually, one of the daughters had commented on it. I'm going to actually go back to it because I want to read the comment.
How old is she?
We'll see. At the time, the kids were 9, 6, and 3, and that was in 2012. So now she would be, I guess, in her 20s.
When she commented about it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So she says, "I'm actually one of the daughters. I normally don't comment on things like this. However, I'm going through the comments and I feel very appreciative of how sympathetic everyone is being. Normally, when I see things about my parents, it's very hateful towards my dad. I didn't even realize people still thought about my family and this case. It definitely feels a little odd, I won't lie. I just wanted to let everyone know we are doing well. We are in no contact with my mom's parents, probably for obvious reasons. LOL. My dad is my best friend, and it's nice to finally see not everyone is against him anymore."
Hmm.
When I first heard about this, I was like, it's kind of suspect. Because, of course, her family's like, she would never do this. She would never leave her children, all of this stuff. But then I found out about like the notes that she had written
Mm-hmm.
and the mood stabilizers and stopping taking her medication 3 weeks prior. And being that she wasn't doing that under the advisement of a doctor, there's a lot of side effects that can come with that if you just stop your medications. And
Yeah.
that could have like put her in a totally different state of mind too, in and of itself. But it sounds like even prior to that, that she was kind of a little bit suicidal even before then. So I personally think that, I mean, obviously he's not guilty in the eyes of the court of law, but I think he's also not guilty in reality.
Oh, you do?
Hmm. I think she really shot herself.
What? I don't know why this is all. I'm just picturing, like, what if in this argument, like a heated argument, what if he just, like, went so hard on her, like, verbally in this argument? Like, just
Oh, you're saying
you,
like
like,
you are worthless.
you weed smoking, baby aborting, worthless, horrible mom, you should just kill yourself.
And then she shot herself?
And she was already well, what, like, if she was already, like, on edge because of the whole night
Mhm.
and the conversation and the argument and then the whole, like, weed smoking situation, and she had stopped taking some medication previously, and the, um miscarriages, I didn't mean to say abortion, the miscarriages, what if he was just like, "You can't even carry a baby, you no
Mhm.
good," and she was just already, like, frail, you
But
know?
if she still is the one that pulled the trigger, he's still
Oh,
not guilty.
no, 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 yeah, yes. Yeah, I mean, I'm not blaming him, but, I
But
mean,
also, I
can
don't
you
think that
imagine?
happened.
Oh, you
Like,
think
I
she
don't
just
think that. they got in an argument, and I think he was probably saying things like he said in his interview. He was saying like "fuck your mom," you know,
Yeah.
like he's obviously saying things that are negative, but I don't think he was saying anything negative about her.
It also means absolutely nothing to me when an outside party is like, "Oh, well, she didn't seem depressed." It's like,
Yeah, I
"Okay,
know.
well, she didn't want to in front of you."
And also another thing that came up about this case is she had planned. So this was on New Year's Eve. She was planning a Super Bowl party,
Mhm.
and it's like, okay, but we've talked about this before with people that I think committed suicide. And suicide is oftentimes a very like spontaneous act. It's not
Mhm.
necessarily something that like you're like, well, I'm not going to plan a Super Bowl party because I'm not going to be here. It's like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
more spontaneous than that most of the time.
Yeah, you don't, like, put it on your
Plus,
calendar.
yeah, she had been drinking that night. She wasn't on her medications. There was like
Mhm.
so many factors that I think played into it.
Yeah.
And then the only thing that I ever thought was weird was her bag being on the bed.
Like, she was leaving.
Yeah, like she was going to leave. But my thinking is even if she was like if she pulled her bag out from under the bed or something,
Mhm.
maybe she was like, "Oh, you know what else is under the bed? My gun." You
Mm.
know what I mean? Like
Maybe
it
the gun was
just
in the bag,
yeah, it could have been, but he said
but,
it
like,
was under the
hit
mattress.
well, maybe he didn't know.
Yeah.
Also, when people say, like, I hate when people say, "Well, she would have never left her daughters," because someone that thinks, like, so little of themselves and is thinking of suicide thinks that they're doing
Right.
like, doing something positive, like,
Right. They're like, "I'm worthless.
"I'm
My daughters
making."
don't need me."
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not thinking you're thinking you're helping them by not being around them because you think so little of yourself. So that's also, like, not I hate when people say that. That's, like, not fair to say at all because that's not what that person doesn't wanna leave their kids, they want to leave
Mhm.
themselves, you know? I think
Yeah.
it's fucked up when people say that.
Most of the time people are thinking like they're better off without me. Everyone's better off without me.
Exactly. Exactly right. Exactly. That's such a
Um
fucked up thing to say.
her mom though, like I don't know if you ever get this, but a lot of times I can get like a vibe from someone when I think they're fucking crazy, and her mom gives me like crazy vibes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I think I totally believe that her mom probably hates Tom,
Mhm.
but I just don't think that he did it. I truly don't think that he did it. Mostly because their lack of gunshot residue on him,
Uh-huh.
and his DNA was not under her fingernails. So those scratches couldn't have come from her
Right.
because his DNA wasn't even under her fingernails.
Right.
And her DNA wasn't on him.
And had they ever had like, that you saw or read, ever had any, like, physical
No.
abuse at all? I feel like that also just doesn't really come out of nowhere.
Yeah, usually it doesn't. I mean, there's always a first time, but no, there wasn't any like history of anything. I also think it
Mm.
says something about him that like, and I know that he adopted those girls, but like to me it kind of says something about him that he took these
Yeah,
kids that aren't really his. I mean, he adopted them, but
but still has a relationship with them,
yeah,
like
like well he took them with him when he
right.
moved.
Oh, right, right, right.
And also his son that he had with Ashley. But yeah, he took them with him and
Yeah.
like actually truly considers them his children, not just like some people sometimes they'll adopt people's kids or whatever whenever they get married, and they're like, I don't want anything to do with this kid when they're done.
But then in certain scenarios, they're like, "Well, you're not even my kid."
Yeah.
That's not funny.
So what do you think? Do you think she killed herself, or do you think
Oh, no, you sold me.
oh, okay.
I mean, yes.
That was
Yes, I
easy.
yeah. Yeah, it is easy. Some are easy like that.
Sorry. Okay. Well, speaking of which, there is
Sorry.
going to be a new documentary coming out with Scott Peterson.
Did you see that?
Yay! No, I didn't see that.
I'll send you the thing on Instagram. I could not fucking believe it when Deanna sent this to
When
me.
is
When's it
that
coming
coming
on?
out again? I
Peacock.
think,
It's on Peacock.
Oh,
It's
good.
next week. It's like the 17th or 18th or something.
you have it on your calendar, Candace?
No.
I'll put it on mine.
It's something about his sister is like really his sister's involved in it, I guess. I don't wait, I
And his
sent you
sister-in-law, I think.
Oh, it's his sister-in-law or his sister?
I think both.
Wait, did you ever reply to me on Instagram whenever I sent you? Because I'm like, why is his sister so heavily involved in this documentary? And then I Googled her, but he has a sister who
Mhm.
thinks he is guilty. And then this person involved in this documentary thinks he's innocent. Right? Because another sister wrote a book saying, like, my brother, the killer, or something like that. I sent that
Oh,
to
I
you.
thought it
Did you reply to me?
was. I actually thought it was in defense of him, but maybe I'm misremembering.
Oh. Would that be no, I think you just
I
meant
think I
my
think I
brother the
joked.
killer?
All I did was I joked and I said I would ask him on our FaceTime later.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I-
Oh, I can't believe it.
August 14th.
We'll be there. Is it
We
on
sure
Peacock?
will. Yeah, Peacock.
Ugh,
August 14th, Peacock.
I don't have Peacock.
Well, I'll let you use my login.
Okay.
I think Cassidy's on your side with Scotty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Scotty too hottie.
We talk about it.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, we talk about things when you're not
Yeah, we
involved.
do.
Okay, let me see.
Because actually, the day that we were gonna record that, or I don't know if it was the day we were gonna record Cassidy, but we were talking about we were gonna do a case discussion. And it was Scott Peterson, and I had said something to Cassidy about how I thought he was innocent, and she was like, "Oh no, Candace thinks he's guilty." And I was like, "Oh, well, this is gonna be good." And then it was so funny because that was how we opened that, and that was an ender actually. We did that as an
Oh,
ender. Do you
yeah.
remember?
Yeah. Shit.
You were like, "Well, I don't think we're really like gonna disagree about this," and I was like,
Immediately disagree.
I was
yeah."
shocked.
And we proceeded to talk for like a full 45 minutes to an hour.
Scott Peterson, Michael Peterson.
Both innocent.
Okay,
That's right.
no, I'm listing the things that Deanna and I don't agree about. I think Scott Peterson, Michael Peterson, and then what's her
Darlie Routier.
yeah, Darlie. I think that was a heated episode.
What was another one? Didn't we have another one?
Not where.
Oh yeah, we talked.
Not on my side.
We did a discussion on was it Melissa Rodriguez or was that her name? The lady that had allegedly beat her child, but we weren't sure. And there was that whole petition to release her.
Oh, she was on a death row, right?
Yeah.
Wait, what did
Her
we
name
do?
wasn't Melissa. What was her name?
It was Melissa.
It was?
What did we disagree on though?
We didn't. I was saying that was another case discussion that we did, but we agreed on it.
Oh. Yeah, we did. Yeah. No, Scott, Michael, and Darlie are. Okay. So for our ender, I don't need my phone.
I
Right.
need mine.
Okay. For our ender, we're doing. Have you saw a reel of this or something, right? Or did you just?
It's an ender that we've used on my podcast for work before.
Oh, really? So I've
Mhm.
seen this all over TikTok.
Oh.
Too. It's really fun. I follow this one family that does it like every single night with their kids, and it's
Oh
really fun.
yeah, I have seen that.
Just like the rows of money on the table, and
Yeah.
then yeah, it's really fun. So we're gonna play some fast money questions. We don't actually get money, but
Do you want to keep score?
It'll still be fun. Oh, if you can. Or I will.
You
do
keep
you want
score.
wait, do you want to keep score? Look, I have a marker board and
Yeah,
a
keep
marker
score.
right here. And a potato.
I was wondering what the hell.
It's from the baby shower.
Oh, is that
Oh,
the thing that
yeah.
shocks you?
My hot potato, yeah.
I don't remember who messaged me, but somebody was like, "Your sister has problems." She was passing around a potato that shocks the shit out of you.
Probably Deanna.
No.
No, it was.
Taylor.
Yeah, it might have been Taylor.
Okay, I'm gonna keep score. Okay, so basically, if you don't know what this is, my sister's gonna ask us questions, and we have to see who answers the fastest.
Okay, we ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
Name one of the 7 deadly sins.
Agreed.
Something you would find in your purse.
Chopstick.
Name any transformer.
Bumblebee.
Good job.
Caitlyn Jenner. Just kidding.
No.
You also get a point.
Half point. A popular middle name.
Murray.
Something you'd pack for a picnic.
An apple.
Golly.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm. A non-dairy milk.
Soy.
Common breakfast cereal.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Oh,
I think you're just always thinking about that, so that was an easy one.
Cereal.
Mm-hmm. Or Cinnamon Toast Crunch. A holiday where you give gifts.
Christmas.
Christmas.
Shit. Common household chore.
Sweeping.
Sweeping.
Oh, both yes.
Wow.
I think if you
I
answer
also-
the same thing, you should get a point.
I also don't even sweep. I
What the
just
fuck?
like vacuum the whole floor.
Oh.
I don't know why we didn't say that. Okay, fine. Point for both.
An ingredient found in sushi.
Rice.
Mm. A popular Christmas movie.
Oh God, it's a
Home Alone.
Christmas Story or whatever. Stupid ass. I hate it.
That's an amazing movie, Deanna.
You don't get a point with that attitude.
Name one of the Harry Potter books.
The Sorcerer's Stone.
Oh, fuck.
Give the whole title.
Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
An exercise for legs.
Squats.
Oh.
I really thought that Deanna
Oh,
would get that.
I know.
one.
I was gonna say leg extension.
That's all I do though. Squats.
Something you need for prom night.
Corsage.
Mm,
Listen, there's a little bit of a lag. You both get a point.
okay.
Name a tattoo style.
American traditional.
There you go. Name a Disney princess.
Cinderella.
Oh damn.
Something you'd find in a hotel room.
A bed.
Nightstand.
Yeah, bed.
What?
Popular.
What did Candace
honeymoon
say?
destination.
I said a bed. What did you say?
A popular honeymoon destination.
Hawaii.
Oh, both y'all's. Okay, only 2 more. Something you would give for a housewarming present.
Wine.
Wine. I was about to say wine too.
An apartment amenity.
Gym.
Cool.
Ooh,
Jim.
good job, girls.
Wow. Wait, is there a delay?
I mean, just like the slightest bit. So when y'all say the same answer,
Or is
y'all are
Deanna
both quick.
or is Deanna the delay?
Deanna's not
Yeah,
delayed.
Deanna's brain's the delay.
Deanna's brain's the delay. I just feel like you're sitting right here, so I get it first, and
Okay,
then
who won?
it goes. Well, me.
Oh. Sure. Yeah, sure. Likely story. The person over there writing the fucking points down won.
You sent
Go
sent
figure.
the list of like, you know, like I guess some questions or something to her, and she was like, "But you come up with some because she probably just went through all of these." So I
Actually,
did. I sat there and came
I
up with
knew
a lot
it.
of them.
wow, that's good.
I knew that you did. I said, "Don't do these though," because Deanna sent it. Make up your own.
I thought about
No,
it.
actually,
Really
I
hard.
thought I was like, she better not go through these and read all the answers. That's what I was thinking. But I was like, no, Cassidy won't do that. Cassidy will find more.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I was
yeah.
thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was brand new to both y'all. But I thought about like doing some like I've come across on TikTok a few times, like name India or name a name a fucking Asian country that begins with S or
No,
something.
that's so rude.
Oh no, I just didn't want
It
y'all to
would-
have to sit there in silence for
It would
so
be
long.
silent on both ends.
Yeah, you gotta give us softball questions like, what do you find in your purse?
Well, she goes, I'm not going to make these really easy for you guys. And I was like, okay, but also don't be rude and ask like geography questions.
Yeah, she
and
was like,
then-
think about what's
history.
think about what's hard for us though.
yeah. I was like, but think about like what's hard in your mind and then think about what's hard to us. I was like, don't
Yeah.
embarrass us on our own pod.
Those are great. Good job, Cassidy.
Yeah, that's so fun. I've wanted to do that before, but I'm like, how do we? Oh, I think we said we're gonna have to get like Peter or Cody or something.
Yeah. And I was gonna suggest it a couple weeks ago, and I was gonna actually suggest pulling Cassidy in. But I was like, yeah, but then we'll have to coordinate like what time and
At least
like
her
all this
tattoo
stuff.
looks
And
great.
I just
What
wasn't
happened?
sure if we'd be able to do it. But that's
kinda
why you were
thirst
like, oh, Cassidy's here. I was like, oh, perfect.
Oh, good.
Let's do this. All right. I guess
go.
that's it. See you next Tuesday.
Goodbye.